These are what your favorite anime series say about you. You probably like eating junk food for the same reason you like watching this show. It's comforting, it's got the bright colors, and it fills you up, but you may experience a hollow feeling or a stomachache after consumption. You hang on to things you should have let go a long time ago. Like maybe a 10-year-old grudge from when someone ate your last muffin and you are still to this day planning your revenge. It's time to move on. You are loyal to a scary degree. You will do literally anything for the squad. When someone asks you, if all your friends jumped off a yes, you will always answer yes. The answer will always be yes. We have got to get you outside into the sun to touch some grass pronto. Speaking as a translucent being myself, I've never seen someone who watches this who did not have a vitamin D deficiency. You are an aesthetic person. Like, when you put on music, you're not thinking, do I like this song? You're thinking, if someone saw me listening to this song, would they think I was cool? You are still a kid at heart, and that's wonderful. Except when you need to be an adult, because you've never figured out how to do that. That's most of us, though. You know, it doesn't even matter what I say about you because you will not care. You've never cared about what other people think. I admire that about you. You just kind of like go with the flow, and it's how you get through your roughest story arcs. And boy howdy, there have been some rough story arcs. You have existed in the back alleys of internet forums since time began, and I would be wise to ignore someone as powerful as you and simply go about my day. Truce. Get out of my house right now! That's what more of your favorite animes say about you. The world will never live up to your impossibly high standards. You've been ruined by perfection, and I'm sorry because life will never quite hit the same again. Rest in peace to your expectations. You enjoy simple things and like to turn your brain off. You don't need a bunch of fancy bells and whistles. All you need is an easy chair and a cheeseburger, and you'll just become one with the upholstery. No thoughts. Just vibes. If this is your favorite, you have some trauma in your life. I don't know what kind, but it is there, and I'm sorry, but yelling and gaslighting are not love languages, and please show this video to your therapist. After you get a therapist. You are a massively underrated person to hang out with. You value friendship, and you're always figuring out cool new stuff and sharing it with everyone. Excellent taste in music, by the way. If this is your favorite, you grew up way too fast and it fried your brain. It's giving former gifted kid who burnt out, and boy oh boy do I know the feeling. You absolutely think you're hot shit, and I'm gonna be honest with you, you're kind of right. But don't let being the cool one go to your head. I won't hesitate to use this. You're trendy. You like keeping up with the times and finding all the new spots to eat, knowing where the next convention is being held. It's always about forward momentum and hype with you. We love you, but slow down for us old folks in the back with the busted up knees. No, get out of here. Go on. Get. Oh, it's actually a really good show. I don't care. Get out. Here's even more of your favorite anime series and what they say about you. You really enjoy watching drama unfold. Like, you don't want to be in it, but when it happens, you're grabbing front row seats and a bowl of popcorn. You are drama adjacent, and you love a good redemption arc. You seek out comfortable and familiar things because you know what you like. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, I would be honored to be welcomed into your pillow fort. We could eat snacks and play your Game Boy Advance SP. You need some escapism bad, and you've exhausted just about every other option for that there is. I truly feel for you. And I promise the sooner you come back to the real world, the easier it will be to assimilate back into humanity. You are extremely friendly and kind, and people like you, but the more that surface layer gets chipped away, the more of what's hiding just underneath is exposed. I know what you really are, and you can't hide from me. You have a good sense of humor, and you're a little bit superstitious. And I'm sorry, but that cloud you were staring at was gonna do that eventually anyway. You didn't make it do that with your mind. You are in debt. You have debt. Every dollar is gone the minute it hits your bank account. They closed your bank account because of the debt. Your kids are in debt. Your grandma's in debt. When you are reincarnated, they are going to find you and hand you a bill. Check out the big brain over here. It must be nice having an attention span. They should hire you to solve all the world's problems because apparently you're the only one of us who can focus on anything for more than 5 minutes. Okay, now you're just being immature. What even more of your favorite anime series say about you? You were that kid on the playground who loved to make up games, but you'd also make up new rules every time you were losing. Nuh-uh, you didn't actually hit me because I dodged it. I had a shield, so your move didn't do anything. I was secretly stronger than you this whole time, and you didn't even know. Life has taken you to the extreme so many times that you have developed some emotional armor, and this is where you go to feel things again. I understand, and I will leave you alone, but let me know if you need, like, some water or a blanket. Your favorite flavor is irony. You are capable of laughing at yourself and you don't take anything too seriously. And while some people might see that and accuse you of being immature, nothing could be further from the truth. You just have a very finite amount of fucks to give and you ration them out accordingly. You are the protagonist of your own story and everyone else is either a non-player character or an arch rival that you're playing 4D chess with. The game is afoot and you're the only one playing. Well, everyone else is too, but they just don't know it yet. Everything is going pretty well for you. But this is where you go to get your drama, your betrayal, your action. You have to get your grim, dark revenge plot somehow. Add a little piece of spice into your otherwise cozy afternoon. You wonder what would happen if you took more risks, if you gave up everything to pursue that passion you have, and what you would do with all the money or fame if you succeeded, and all the terrible things that might happen if you don't. You like to daydream, and hey, you never know. Someday those dreams might turn into goals. It's okay. It's okay. We're all thinking it. I mean, it's a hand with a mouth on it. How could you not think about it? Still, though, this is what your favorite anime says about you. So you either like this because it awakened all kinds of feelings in you that were hiding just under the surface, or you like the abridged version because you have a snarky sense of humor. Either way, you get the official title of Edgelord. You are the Lord of Edge wearing a crown of memes. You are the one who waits in the shadows, fedora fully tipped. If this is your favorite, you come from a liminal space that's just an infinite anime convention. You no-clipped into the back rooms and all you found was an internet forum with a bunch of people screaming at each other wondering where the new seasons are. You have ascended from Edgelord to Edge Overlord. If you or a loved one has been exposed to heavy doses of mecha anime, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Seriously though, if you spent half the time doing productive things as you do Googling size charts to win hypothetical arguments, you'd have the money for more models. I said what I said. If this is your favorite, you have a highly specific brain rot that comes from staying up way too late when you were younger. You also might have trauma that you feel like nobody will understand, but I promise you, there is a support group out there for everyone. And we love you. You are stuck in a time machine that only goes back to whenever high school was for you. Your second home was probably a hot topic, and you never stopped using these to end every text. But don't worry, at this point it's vintage. You are as confusing to me as this show. It's like the sorcerers summon historical figures to use as servants to fight each other, and there's like 15 different series, but none of them are connected. You know what? You figure out what to do with yourself and I'll come back to you. You know you're not supposed to be in here. You're great, probably the best, but you know you're not supposed to be in here. This is what your favorite Star Wars characters say about you. Heroes Edition. You have a strong sense of duty and a compassionate heart, but you might be a little aloof. You have to work on staying grounded to not miss the little things right in front of you. You should go home and rethink your life. You're courageous in the face of overwhelming odds, but that means biting off more than you can chew sometimes. Don't try to take on the whole world at once. And don't try to fight your dad. He's got old man strength and he'll beat you up. You are a natural leader, and while you could choose to do anything, you choose to spend your time helping others and fighting the good fight, which makes you highly likely to be targeted by terrible people, so just know we're all here to come to your rescue if you get kidnapped. Again, you are full of wisdom, and when someone needs advice, they come to you. But it takes a lot out of you, and frankly, you're just tired. Sometimes you just want to fade away into a pile of blankets. But please don't, we still need you. We'll wear you like a little backpack if we have to. You are a helpful little bean, and we love you. You've never done anything wrong, and I will fight the entire government to protect you. You are incredibly intelligent with a side of social anxiety. From one anxious soul to another, therapy can be a real game changer. Give it a try sometime. You're a skeptic. You trust your gut and nobody tells you what to do. Sometimes you can be dismissive and quick to leave if you don't feel like you're getting what you want, but you'll come around to the whole selfless good guy thing in the end. This is what your favorite animated Disney movie says about you. You are either the most basic individual or you're extremely weird. There's no middle ground. You're a romantic who loves nature, and you definitely ate a bug as a kid just to find out what they tasted like. You're the hot friend. That's just a fact. Nobody knows if they want to be with you or if they want to be you. This also didn't happen overnight. It took time to find your confidence and hit your stride, but now that you're there, I've got one word for you, and that word is unironically slay. You're the class clown. Tell me you aren't the attention-seeking one in the group who always has something sarcastic to say. If you could do a real-life cutaway to an invisible audience to trash-talk your friends, you would do it every 5 minutes. I'm getting a lot of Catholic guilt, an obsessive love of history, and a penchant for the finer things in life. Like a sheet with a ridiculously high thread count or a glass of dark red with some artisanal cheeses. Sure, some people call you quirky, but the ones who actually know you, they know that you're chaos incarnate. But who can blame you? you. The world is a magical place, and you are an extroverted weirdo who accidentally commits at least 3 felonies a week. You are massively underrated, and people need to appreciate you more. You're funny, you're charming, you're gorgeous, and you probably make the best food out of anyone in the group. You don't deserve to be overlooked. You have a bunch of nerdy interests and hobbies, and when you hyperfixate on something, there's no stopping you. Hanging out with you is like hanging out with an encyclopedia that had too many cups of coffee. If I have a really specific problem I can't Google the answer to, you're the person I'm calling. I'm not gonna lie, this movie did some things to me. And if this is your favorite too, I'll see you in the fanfic forums. I've seen your requests, and this is what more of your favorite Disney movies say about you. Pirates and sci-fi are both hardcore, and being introduced to both of them at the same time at an early age means you'll never have a healthy relationship with a fandom again. You like punk rock boys or women in uniform, which means you have a problem with authority, but also find power attractive, and I'm sorry if that's confusing, but it's your life now. You may not go looking for the drama, but it does have a way of finding you. There is some full-on treachery going on in your midst at all times, and I want you to know, it is not your fault you keep finding yourself in a toxic relationship. It is this movie's fault for making you think you can change toxic people. You cannot, no matter how pretty they are. It's not worth trying, trust me. Some people look at you and see an emotionally damaged gremlin, but I see someone who has learned that the family you are given isn't as important as the one you make. And that wise outlook, along with your kind heart, is almost enough to make me optimistic. Almost. You are one of 2 people. You're a Cheshire Cat fan who's a sort of artsy burnout, or you're a Mad Hatter person, and I do not have time to get into that right now. Either way, you've always been keen on expressing yourself through art, and you probably had a notebook you drew in when you were younger, and I bet it's still around. You should start drawing again. You are not a fan of civilization. You'd like to be alone in the woods, or the jungle, or on top of a very tall mountain where there is a very slim chance of being bothered by anyone that isn't a rock-climbing goat. You also like Phil Collins now, because that soundtrack went hard. You quoted this movie almost religiously for a very long time. You might still quote this movie, but now you've grown from a little inside joke acorn into a full-on meme tree. If my inbox starts getting destroyed with low-quality JPEGs, I'll know it was these people. You're gonna make me call you out for this? Right here, on the Lord's internet? They are foxes. Your favorite Disney movie is one of these? Here's what that says about you. You're the trash goblin friend who collects knickknacks, seashells, and rocks, and if one of them is shaped like something, oh my god, we will never hear the end of it. But you do look good when your hair's all done and you get all dressed up. You can get it when you want to. You tried skateboarding at one point, and you did not succeed in skateboarding at any point. You probably own a pair of sunglasses that you wear indoors. You like awful junk food like cheap gas station nachos and spray cheese in a can, but I am always going to hand you the aux cord because you're the one with the fun taste in music. You swagger around like you own the place, and it's giving pretentious. Half the time you don't even know what you're talking about, but people still listen to you anyway because you carry yourself with so much confidence. That's the price of having Riz. You're one of those people who's into old European culture and folklore, and like 90% of the time, it's a lot. But I do appreciate that if we ever get lost in the woods, you'll be there to make sure I don't wander into some kind of cursed fairy shit. You are a treasure trove of absolutely useless information, and that is what growing up on video games and candy will do to the human brain. Late-night sleep-deprived conversations with you are a roller coaster ride, and occasionally the landfill that is your mind produces an insanely helpful fact that basically saves the day. You are impulsive as hell, and you have zero self-preservation instinct. It does come from a good place, though, because you are genuinely wanting to do good and help others, and honestly, it is nice to know that some people out there still actually care. The fans of this movie scare me. You all saw that scene where the snake does his hypnotizing thing, and now your search history is not chill. Stay away from my family. Do you have a favorite Disney villain? Here's what it says about you. No one is a bigger fan of you than you. You are filled with so much hot air that it's hard not to float away into the stratosphere. You might have a good case for that inflated sense of self-importance, but at the end of the day, all it takes is one little poke for that balloon to pop and for you to go flying around the room. I almost don't want to say anything bad about you because I know if I do, you're gonna give it back to me tenfold in the comments. You bring an amount of sass to every occasion that is frankly quite criminal. I would rather have you as an ally than an enemy because you don't talk about people behind their backs. You say it with your entire chest, to their face. You're extremely snarky and occasionally rude, but you get away with it because you're so charming. When new people meet you, they have to ask your friends, are they usually like that? And your friends have normalized it so much, they're always like, what do you mean? That's just how they are. You've surrounded yourself with people who will apologize for your behavior so you never have to. You are unforgivably evil, but you wear it so well. I mean, the amount of Machiavellian flair you put into being an absolute piece of garbage is impressive. And if you put in some effort, I think you could have a long career in politics ahead of you. This is actually scary. I hope you just like his songs in the movie, because if you are out here identifying with this man, there is no hope for you. This is the pinnacle of terrifying Disney villains because he could be anyone. He's just a lonely, messed up dude with too much authority. The world is full of people like this, and they are the reason everything is bad. I mean, honestly, I get it. I too would like the ability to turn into a dragon. What, are you my mom? Oh no, you're my mom. This is what your favorite DreamWorks movie says about you. You are a compulsive liar with a flair for the dramatic, just like every character in this entire movie. But despite being a walking red flag, you do have game, and that's a valuable skill. You're on some straight-up trickery, though, and I see you. Most of your vocabulary is made up of inside jokes and references, and because of that, it's difficult when you have to interact with new people. But you are an incredibly loyal friend once you get past that initial barrier of weird inside humor. And yes, I will get out of your swamp now. When you finally decided to unpack your church trauma, this was the one box you decided to keep. Much like VeggieTales, we look past the undertones because the content itself absolutely slaps. But there's definitely some emotional baggage here. You're socially awkward and you feel out of place sometimes, and boy do I get it. But you are bursting at the seams with untapped potential. Also, I can't explain it, but it feels like you're a good ally, you know? You are hyper-fixated with pirates, you probably attend the Renaissance Fair, you're too snarky for your own good, and you have a thing for evil, dark-haired women who will drag you to the bottom of the sea. Unrelated, but are you free next Tuesday? If this is your favorite, you love animals, you feel like an underdog, and you rebel against the status quo, but literally who doesn't? You're also the target demographic on every chart people make when they're trying to figure out who to sell stuff to. You are the funny, attention-seeking friend, and that is your curse. Every time someone is ironically twerking, it's you. Every time there's a pun to be made, you are the one jumping in front of it. You need the attention and the status that comes with being hilarious, and at the end of the day, you still feel empty and alone. It's the price of comedic genius. You are not human, you are a meme. Get back in the basement. Get back in the basement! This is what your favorite Don Bluth movie says about you. You live in a glass case of emotion. And it makes sense, because this was way too heavy for a movie about cartoon dinosaurs. You also wonder what leaves taste like, and I'm just saying, you're fully grown, and nobody can stop you from getting that tree star, bestie. I'm sensing a lot of generalized anxiety and distrust. You're the kind of person that sits with their back to the wall when they go out to eat. Your friend group is small, and that suspicion comes from the fact that you sat down to watch what you thought was going to be a Disney princess type of movie and instead got nightmares for a month. You used to have big dreams and goals, and they kind of got put on hold to focus on what was important in the moment. Days became weeks, weeks became years, and before you knew it, you built a comfy life for yourself, and all that stuff got packed away in the back of your mind. But it's never too late to follow your dreams. Take it from me, the lady who does astrology readings based on your favorite cartoons. You have a bunch of nerdy hobbies, and this was your gateway into that life. Wizards and evil knights, spooky monsters, heroic quests, all of it. You have a D&D group, or you play MMOs. You might read fantasy novels, or even dress up and play make-believe with your nerd buddies on the weekend. I would say something judgmental about you, but that would make me a hypocrite because I'm one of you. This wasn't a kid's movie. This was a crime drama with a Twilight Zone twist and a little sprinkle of M. Night Shyamalan. I'm gonna take a wild guess and say you feel a lot of guilt and shame on a daily basis that you maybe don't deserve, but I think we could probably spend an hour breaking down all your individual little traumas. Stay strong, my friend. How did you escape the nursing home? We got a runner! This is what your favorite Pixar movie says about you. You are very used to your routine and you do not like it when things change. You form strong friendships because you're afraid of abandonment, and you probably give names and personalities to inanimate objects. Is it quirky? Is it a coping mechanism? Who knows? You've, messed some stuff up in your life. Fumbled the ball. Really, goofed it up. And you now lay awake at night cringing over it. I'm sensing a fear of rejection. Go see a therapist. Tell him Tawny sent you. They'll be like, who's Tawny? And then you'll show him this video. If this is your favorite, you are a glutton for punishment, and I fear you. What else do you do for fun? Eat spoonfuls of wasabi? Look directly into the sun? I'd bop you with this rolled up piece of paper, but you'd probably like it. Oh, honey, you spend way too much time working and not enough time relaxing. The hustle and grind culture has worn you out. You're living to work and not working to live. Take a bubble bath, go to the park, do something nice for yourself. You cannot live off caffeine alone, trust me, I've tried. You have an obsessive craft or hobby that you engage in to escape the soul-crushing reality of the future of this planet. You're actively trying to paint, tinker, crochet, or sculpt your way out of the collapse of civilization, and it's not going to work. But I will give you points for trying. Oh, you're bougie. You have refined tastes, and it's burning a hole in your bank account. Not everything you do needs to be fancy. You do not have to spend $65 on dinner and drinks every night. Go home and make a sandwich instead. You're not watching it for the subtle commentary about the nature of power in a world where some people were born special. You are watching it for the mom. You are disgusting. But I mean, I get it. Really? Did you have a favorite show when you were a kid? Here's what it says about you. You are an absolute savage. You talk all the trash and want all the smoke. The people who made this woke up on the wrong side of the bed every single day of their lives, and now you do too. You are hyperactive one moment and completely burnt out the next. You are confident and then immediately anxious. You go from one extreme to another, and emotional consistency does not exist in your world. You're weird now. This made you weird because it was weird. Nobody else gets you unless they also watch this show. You can tell when someone is raised on this show too, because when they see it, they'll start to zone out like they're communicating with aliens. Congratulations, you're smart. That's right. Every blues kid is extremely intelligent, and that is exactly why you're all extremely depressed. If you follow the little blue paw prints, they're going to lead you right back to a liquor cabinet and a useless college degree. You're so messy, and I mean, it's not your fault or anything, but look around you right now and tell me there's not some clothes on the floor and some trash on the table. I have nothing. I don't have anything bad to say about you. You're fine. You were watching this because your parents were not watching you. Sesame Street was for people who didn't have money for a babysitter, and you likely were the babysitter at the ripe old age of 9 years old. You were a troubled child who grew up into a troubled adult who's really trying hard to reparent themselves into a halfway decent human being. Honestly, I don't know what you people were on, but you were too young to be on it. This is for your parents and guardians. Do you have a favorite show as a kid? Here's what it says about you. Part 2. You have absolutely zero concern for your own safety or the safety of others. Every lesson you have ever learned has been learned the hard way, a few times. You do some wild things just to find out what will happen, and you have the scars to prove it. Y'all were the kids who emptied out your toy box and rode it down the stairs. For science, you put everyone else's needs before your own, and when the people around you have a problem, they know they can come to you for advice. You are the resident caretaker. But now, you are hanging on by a thread, and you have no idea who to ask for help because you're the only person around with any common sense. Oh, you ruin everything. You're the human version of a cat that knocks cups off of tables. On the Mayo Clinic's website, they list your name under possible causes for anxiety. Between being a menace to society and upending everyone's lives around you, you can be kind of adorable. But then you immediately destroy something, and we remember what you really are on the inside. A monster. You have 1,000 pet projects you are working on at the same time. Your attention span is short, and your schedule is packed. And when you do finally find the time to sit down and take a break, you can't even relax because your brain refuses to shut down. Also, your closet is full of absolutely bananas outfits that require an explanation when someone sees them. You are literally my parents. If the cost of living goes up any higher, I will be moving in with you. You are a really polite house guest to have over, but I just have this really strong feeling that there's something very menacing lurking underneath the surface. Like when you're alone, you just stare blankly at the wall with no facial expression whatsoever. I will preemptively be filing a restraining order. If there's one thing I know about Power Rangers kids, it's that you are shameless. And that's what we like about you. Most of the time. Sometimes you need to have a little shame. It keeps you from striking a battle pose in the middle of IHOP and frightening the senior citizens. This, I saw y'all request this. This is the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I do want to know who created it. Also, do you have a favorite 90s cartoon? Here's what it says about you. You have a tragic backstory, and now you're using humor to cope with it. You have a really tragic backstory, and you are not coping with it. You've been called kooky on more than one occasion, and you have a deep appreciation for topical humor. You are an agent of chaos. You like to rip the lid off Pandora's box and then hide it. Nobody's safe from your plans to entertain yourself at their expense. You were chronically online before it was cool. You are constantly gaslighting people and blaming them for things they didn't do because you find it hilarious. You know a bunch of useless facts and you like to bring them out at parties, and it never gets the response you think it will. Also, you're into moms. You have such a big heart and you stress yourself out trying to take care of everyone. Make sure you take care of you, too. You answer to no forms of authority. Every morning you wake up is an act of civil disobedience. You're attracted to him. That's all. You're one of those people that goes all out on Halloween, and I love that about you. Cobwebs, that candy bowl with the motion sensor hand that reaches out and grabs you. Chef's kiss. Your sense of humor was broken at an early age. Seriously, I don't know how they got away with anything on this show. Like, when I was looking up images to make this video, Google was like, just to let you know, safe search is on. What was this show? Why was this show? If this one was your favorite, have a great therapy session this week. You already know what's coming. Rating the best, worst, and weirdest toys from the 90s, starting with moon shoes. These were ankle destroyers, tendon annihilators. They really made this toy and said, kids are coordinated, they'll figure it out. No, we didn't. One wrong step and we hit the ground so hard our cousin had to poke us with a stick to see if we were still alive. But sometimes it was that one bratty kid who got hurt, and that was pretty funny. 3 out of 10. Everybody who had or wanted a Doodle Bear grew up and got tattoos or wants tattoos. Doodle Bear walked so we could run, but Doodle Bear is washable and drawing on it doesn't cost hundreds of dollars. We have to remember this next time the alternative rock lyrics are hitting us emotionally and we're scrolling for tattoo designs. 6 out of 10. Some of you may remember these as soccer boppers and others may remember them as sock'em boppers, but I'm just surprised you remember anything after suffering so much head trauma as a result of these things. Someone actually just made inflatable boxing gloves for children. Same thing with Hulk hands, but 9 out of 10 because it gave you an excuse to clock your siblings. The Poochie Robot Dog. This is the saddest story ever told. A child plays with their robot dog for 5 minutes and forgets it in the toy box for the rest of time. I'm actually genuinely upset thinking about how it was always there, waiting for us in that toy box. You get a 10 out of 10 and we're monsters. Brand new out of the package, Super Soakers were the most fun thing ever. But after a while, they would just sit in the garage and collect dust and gunk, and you knew if you ever picked up that thing again, the only thing it was going to be shooting was a bunch of pissed off spiders who decided they lived there now. 8 out of 10. The stuff they did with Floam on the commercials was always so cool, but when we finally got our hands on some, we never knew what to do with it. It just dried up in the corner into a weird clump of environmentally hazardous material. 4 out of 10. Finger monsters are something you would find in like a fishbowl at the dentist's office. Legitimately the cheapest toy ever made. 1 out of 10. This is the candy corn of toys. We slapped these on everything, literally. We slapped them on objects. We slapped them on people. I would slap one on my grandma if she was here right now. Sometimes we would just put it on the table and throw stuff at it to see if we could get it to snap up. 7 out of 10. Sticks were criminally underrated. You could actually bop the other kids with it who had better toys than you, and when they ran away to tell their parents, you could take their toys. 11 out of 10. Do you remember these iconic 90s movies? Here's what your favorite says about you. Half the time it looks like you crawled out of the dumpster behind Goodwill, and the other half you're so radiant that people hurt their eyes trying to look at you. You're getting baked and scrolling through your phone right now. Oh my god, what's that behind you? Just kidding. Or am I? You like to binge and fall asleep to true crime content, and then you have the audacity to wonder where all the intrusive thoughts during the day are coming from. You're the kind of person who corners people at parties and shares your opinions. Very questionable opinions. You have good opinions, and people actively seek you out to hear them. You either love this movie because you understood what it was, or you don't understand it yet somehow manage to reference it daily in your terrible hot takes. You really like dinosaurs, and I love that about you. Do you want to go to a museum together? You are so tired of them drilling this premise into every single show and movie. You don't need Groundhog Day in space, or Groundhog Day with spies, or reverse Groundhog Day. You believe a lot of conspiracy theories, but I promise you, nobody's watching you laying there, with your phone in your right hand, having a sip of that drink on your table. You do look thirsty. You are such a goober, but, like, in the fun way. You are also a goober, but not in the fun way. You are Kevin Smith. You are no longer with us. Do you have a favorite cartoon as a kid? Because I bet I know what it says about you. If your favorite was SpongeBob, you're not the happy, bouncy person full of wonder you thought you were gonna be. No, you're the disgruntled introvert, the one who just wants to go home and relax with a hobby, but your loud friends keep trying to get you to go outside. You're a loner, and you feel like you're smarter than everyone else. You would never say it out loud, like, hey, I'm the smartest person here, but you will definitely imply it by pointing out the people around you and the ridiculous ways they choose to live their lives. You've been through some stuff, but I feel you're pretty well adjusted for the most part. You've put in the work, and it shows. You have a strong sense of community, and you know how to live for the moment. Speaking as a San Diegan, beach trash is a state of mind. You don't have to be from a specific place. You just have to have a big heart and an empty bank account. Speaking from experience, I feel like you have a dirt bike or something in the garage that hasn't been touched in 2 years. And every time you go to the grocery store, you buy 2 liters of store-brand soda. You're also pretty sure everyone is out to get you. And at this point, I really don't know if you're even wrong. Almost every emotion you have on a daily basis is a new fight, a battle for balance, because you don't live in harmony with your brain. You are in a cage match with it, and you will fight dirty just to find some peace of mind. Iced coffee does not help you with this problem, but you keep drinking it anyway. I'm finding it hard to accept that this first aired over 10 years ago. If you were 12 when this started airing, you're 25 now. Someone get me some oxygen, I'm spiraling. What does it say about you? I don't know. It was weirdly heavy for a kid's show. It probably means you grew up too fast. Grandma needs to lie down. This can't be your favorite show from childhood because it came out like last year. Stop making me feel old. It's rude. Do you have a favorite Pokemon? Here's what it says about you. You have main character syndrome and a little too much energy. Maybe consider calming down a bit there, Zippy. You are the type of person to adopt a rescue instead of buying an animal, and honestly, the world really needs more people like you. You roll around squad deep and have the drip of a god. You're responsible for a lot of your own problems and then get overwhelmed and wonder why everything is so hard. You feel like you don't deserve love unless you earn it, and on an unrelated note, see you in group this week. You get very attached to things with tragic backstories. You are an edgelord. You believe in ancient aliens. You can't even decide what you want to have for dinner. You already had dinner, and it was amazing. You should be in jail. You have broken out of jail. You're running the jail. This is just a person. She looks like her name is Sarah, and she works at Forever 21. You get so much unnecessary shade. You got lost on your way to a different anime. No, wait, you're still in the right place. You're kind of creepy, but in like a quirky, fun way. You're just good old-fashioned regular creepy. You have always wanted this haircut. You currently have this haircut. That is a middle-aged man with an art degree. He has a mortgage and a cell phone bill. I'm not doing this with you today. Did you watch cartoons in the 2000s? Here's what your favorite one says about you. Ben 10 kids are the type of people to run headfirst into a brick wall to see if they can bust through it. I don't know how else to describe it. Y'all just have too much energy and not a single ounce of self-preservation. This show is the reason that you are in a will they won't they type of relationship with someone close to you, and you need to either figure out what you're doing or move on. Also, you have a thing for pale, dark-haired women who are kinda mean. You spent a lot of time hiding who you really were from the world because you felt like no one understood you. But now, you've put that all behind you, and you live your life in a way that makes you happy, regardless of what other people think. Your sense of humor is just annoying people, and that isn't a crime, but it should be. Also, you have a thing for redheads. You will pick up any type of junk off the ground and play make-believe with it. Tell me you don't still think about putting that soda box on your arm and fighting invisible bad guys. You had some really wild years when you were younger, and now you're overcorrecting and trying to cover up the walking federal offense that you used to be. You spend way too much time daydreaming about what you'd do if you could do martial arts or had superpowers, and I'll save you some time. The answer is nothing good. Also, you quote Uncle on the daily. You had a cybergoth phase, and this is why. In the Venn diagram of snarky know-it-all and resident meme lord, you fall squarely in the center as both. You alternate between info dumping and just being wildly out of pocket. Y'all are kinda grubby. You don't walk so much as you scuttle around. You're funny though, but there's just this layer of dirt on you that will not seem to quite wash off all the way. The LOL so random era hit you like a freight train, and your brain was completely fried by early internet humor and frequent visits to Hot Topic. You have still not figured out how to communicate with a woman. Also,